Hi, and welcome to our first week in the series of the presence of God through the biblical narrative. As we start, we want to begin in the actual beginning. God created the world and humanity, and in this creation, He had a relationship, a intimacy that with His own creation. In His creation, He created an intimacy that became the essence of the human existence. So we see through God's original intent was that we would have a face-to-face interaction with Him. But it's also through this creation narrative that we see the falling of humanity away from this presence through Adam and Eve and their choice. We'll read in Genesis 3 how God walked with man and how man walked away. In Genesis 3:8, it says, "Then the man and his wife heard the sound of the Lord God as he was walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and they hid from the Lord God among the trees of the garden. But the Lord God called to the man, 'Where are you?' He answered, 'I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid.'" And as we go down to verse 22, it says, "And the Lord God said, 'The man has now become like us, one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat and live forever.' So the Lord God banished him from the Garden of Eden to work the ground from which he had been taken. After he drove the man out, he placed on the east side of the Garden of Eden cherubim and a flaming sword, flashing back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life." It was in this disobedience and this unfaithfulness to God that we see the very things that humanity was made to protect was not being protected away from man. And the relationship and the presence of God had a massive disconnection. Now that we've established the beginning of the biblical narrative and the presence of God through it, we want you to meet in your small groups to discuss these three questions. How does this information give you a perspective of the presence of God as we see it from the beginning of creation? What are some key aspects that we see playing out as in our purpose as human beings? And knowing the disobedience of Adam and Eve shattered the relationship that God wanted with us, what do you think makes us have one now, and why?